All right, so the perimenopause pyramid, how to build a realistic, sustainable routine that actually works with your changing body. So, isn't that just it? Our bodies are never the same. We are always changing. So welcome and thank you so much for being here. I know your time is valuable, so today is going to be really practical. And by the end of the workshop, you'll understand the perimenopause pyramid, and more importantly, you'll leave with a realistic weekly exercise plan that hopefully you can actually stick to. So that is the goal of today. Now, does any of this sound familiar? So, here are a lot of common things that I'm hearing pretty much on the daily. What worked in my 30s isn't working anymore. I don't know if I'm doing too much or not enough. Every expert seems to say something different. I'm exhausted before I even start. I keep starting over every Monday. So, or are you always wondering, should you be lifting heavier or resting more? Should you walk every day or push yourself harder? Whether HIIT is good for you or whether you should avoid it altogether. So maybe you've tried to be consistent, but the results just aren't matching the effort anymore. And social media does not make this any easier. It is becoming more confusing than ever because every time you open up an app, there is different advice being thrown at you left, right, and center. One expert is telling you to lift heavy, another says not too heavy. Someone else says cortisol is a problem, another says it's not the problem. So it's no wonder why so many women are feeling completely overwhelmed. And if this sounds like you, I want you to know something before we go any further. You are not behind, you are not lazy, and you are not doing it wrong. You are simply trying to make sense of advice that doesn't make any sense. So no wonder. As we approach and enter perimenopause and beyond, bodies have changed and are still changing, and therefore our strategy needs to change too. One of the biggest things I've learned is that women don't suddenly lose motivation in perimenopause. Most of the women I work with are incredibly motivated. So the motivation is there. They're showing up, they're trying, they're doing the workouts, they're eating well, but they're still feeling frustrated. So the problem isn't that they're not committed. The problem is that they're often following advice that was designed for a different stage of life. And quite often it has been designed for young men. So once I understood that, everything sort of changed. I stopped asking, why can't women stick to exercise? And I started asking, what would make exercise be sustainable again? So why do we kind of keep this start cycle happening? And how can we get women to just stick to something that suits them? So that question itself became the foundation of everything that I teach today. The cycle that I see women getting stuck in is pretty much what we've been going through already, is that we feel confused or overwhelmed. We try sporadic random workouts. We stick with it for a while and then life gets busy and we miss one or two sessions. That turns into a few weeks. It feels like it's not working because it's not. We lose confidence in the system that we've tried, but in ourselves as well. And then we get back to that confused, overwhelmed state and repeat. So it's kind of like we get on the wagon, something happens and we fall off, and then we're trying to get back on again. So every time we try to get back on again, we end up doing it with less confidence. And I guess that would just definitely decrease our motivation with that. So staying stuck is costing women their results. So we're overthinking, starting again every Monday, waiting for life to slow down, looking for the next expert, and losing our confidence every time we go through that stop and restart cycle. So what is it actually costing you to stay stuck? And what will that look like for you in 6 months? So if you don't do anything now, or if we don't make those changes and we can't get on a consistent routine, in 6 months' time, what is that going to look like? More aches and pains, more appointments. So physio, massage, chiropractor, doctors. I see it all the time. If we sort of decrease our workouts or we stop altogether, all the symptoms start to come up again. And then we reach for those quick fixes of a massage appointment or having to go into the physio because something's been flared up again. More expenses. And with all of that, we get more lethargic and low energy. We stay home more, there's less social interactions. The clothes don't feel comfortable anymore, and that whole cycle of clothes not fitting, size getting sort of bigger, not participating with our kids or our grandkids' activities. So either your body just doesn't feel right, or you just don't feel like it because you've lost your confidence, and you're setting yourself up for future injury, pain, health risks, and fractures. So fractures are not in there to scare you. It is something that is very real and it can happen quite easily. So let's think of it this way. So think of 6 months from now. Actually, let's take a step back. Think 6 months ago and how, like, it sounds like it was a long time ago, but it actually feels like it was yesterday. So I think we can all agree time is going by very, very fast. Yeah, think about everything that has happened in your life since then. So even though January feels like it was just a couple of weeks ago, life has happened. Things have gone on. We've had birthdays, anniversaries, milestone events, new skills, and sports teams for my little guy. So now imagine that we're sitting here in 6 months' time, which is next January. So 2027 is after Christmas and it's after New Year's. I want you to ask yourself, where do you want to be? So will you still be in the cycle of being stuck, telling yourself that you'll start when life calms down, when things aren't as busy, or will you still be picking and choosing workouts? Will you still be waiting for more motivation? And that is exactly what I hear from so many women. They'll get started when life isn't busy, or they'll get started when things settle down a little bit. But here's the truth. 6 months is going to pass whether we make changes or not. So in 6 months' time, will the future you be grateful that you started today or wishing that you had? So that question has hit me harder than I'd like to admit because a few years ago, I realized that I was becoming the exact woman that I coach today. So I was gaining weight and it felt like it got put on pretty much overnight. It did not make any sense to me. I was feeling exhausted even when I had had a good night's sleep, or our little guy was having pretty good sleep overall. I was just waking up feeling absolutely exhausted. I was trying to out exercise it. So I was trying to add in more or do better workouts or longer sessions and more times throughout the week. I was thinking that I just needed more discipline. So I was very hard on myself, thinking, well, whatever you're doing is not working. We need to work harder. And then I finally realized that my old approach was just no longer working. So it made me finally take a step back and ask, what does my body actually need now? So I've been in ex-phys for over 22 years. I've helped hundreds of women. I've studied this, numerous courses and accreditations. But somehow, when all of this started happening to me, I still found myself being completely overwhelmed and I was almost stunned because things just weren't working. I was doing all the right things and the results just weren't coming. Nothing was shifting. And I just felt like, what the heck is going on? So imagine opening up your calendar and knowing exactly what exercise plan looks like. Imagine knowing that you have done enough. You don't have to be hard on yourself. And imagine the feeling of missing a workout and being able to adjust the rest of your routine instead of giving up completely. So imagine feeling stronger every month instead of feeling like your body is getting softer and you're getting more fatigued. And imagine trusting yourself again, trusting that your body is there for you. After going through my own experience and having coached for over 20 years, I've realized something simple. Women don't actually need another workout. They don't need more conflicting advice. They need a simple framework that helps them know what actually deserves their attention. And that is exactly why I have created the Perimenopause Pyramid, which is the foundation of the exercise pillar in my signature program, the Perimenopause Project. So exercise is only one piece of the puzzle, and it's the piece that we're going to master today, but I'd like to briefly show you the other two pillars that work alongside it. So in my whole signature program, exercise, nutrition, sleep, and stress, they all work together. And then that helps create the perfect little pocket of you in the middle. So if everything is working at the same time and we've got a good grasp on all three pillars, that is when we're going to get the ideal results that you are after. So with all my years of experience, I have seen how all of these three pillars work simultaneously in order to build the best results for my clients and myself. So when we have missing pieces, things don't just click as well as they could. Now, just to be brief, exercise that we're going to dive into today, it's strength, cardio, our bone health, mobility, and pelvic floor. That's sort of how I've separated it all. And then nutrition, which we're not going to go through today, but nutrition, a lot of the, or three of the main sort of players would be your protein, fiber, and hydration. There's obviously a lot more to it than that, but those are kind of like the main topics and buzzwords at the moment. And then stress and rest. So, sleep, recovery, nervous system regulation, stress management, making sure that your body is recovering from either stressful events, a hard workout, a busy week. We need to make sure that we are recovering in order to perform better the next day. Now, you can have the perfect workout, but if you're running on empty, sleeping poorly, and never recovering, your body will let you know. And this can show up in different forms of burnout. Equally, you can be eating really well, but without challenging your muscles and your bones, you're missing one of the biggest opportunities to stay strong as we age. And that is what we see with people who go on either extreme diets or really hone in their nutrition, but then they're not exercising or they're not giving their body enough, enough of the rest that they need. Other aspects of their complete sort of health and wellness isn't going to be making any sense. So today, as promised, we're going to dive into the exercise pillar. So it's not just what exercises to do, but how to build a routine that you can actually stick to. So sticking to it is the key. So I truly believe that consistency beats perfection every single time. So a quick little example of that is I was going for a run the other day. I had left it until the end of my work day before I was going to pick up my little guy from school. And I thought, okay, I'll do it at, 1:30 or whatever time I had. I had 45 minutes to do my run and then I'll have a quick shower and go get him. And time got away from me. And before I knew it, it was later than expected, and I only had 25 minutes to go for my run. And I kind of thought, oh, it's not going to be the run that I have planned. I've got a running program that I'm following. I might not do it. And I almost didn't go. And then I literally had to like slap myself and be like, no, this is exactly why you have to go. So I went and I only did 25 minutes. It wasn't the run that I had planned, but I got it done. Because let's be honest, if I didn't go out and do it, I wouldn't have done it later, and I probably wouldn't have done it the next day. I had set aside that time, I think it was on Tuesday of last week. That's when I was going to go. That's what I had carved out. It ended up being 25. Oh my God, I just realized that this isn't sharing. I'm so sorry if that hasn't been sharing. Has that been sharing for you, Robs? The screen?
I've
Okay.
just unmuted myself.
Oh,
All I can
sorry.
see is a dark screen with Joanna's name on it.
Oh my God, that is so embarrassing. Why
That's
didn't you
okay.
say
I'm listening.
anything?
I'm listening.
Oh gosh. Okay. I don't know why. I've just on the notification that it's not sharing. Oh, that is such a bummer. Okay, let me see if I can stop share and then share again. And then is that better now?
I'm not yet seeing anything different,
Oh,
but don't worry because
oh,
I'm.
I feel like that is just completely wasted now.
No, it's not because I've listened to everything you've said. I'm a good
Okay,
listener.
so it tells me that it's sharing now, so and then I don't know
Okay.
why it just stopped. So, okay.
I'm not. My screen hasn't changed. Let's just see if I've got options to switch screens. No, there's only one screen visible.
And it's just my name without my video.
Yeah.
Okay. Hmm.
Make sure your camera aperture is open.
Yep, everything's open. So on my side
Yeah.
now it says that I am screen sharing and you should be seeing the whole PowerPoint. So
Hide, add pin, rename. No, I'm just seeing what my settings give me the option to do.
yeah.
General audio, that's all cool.
So I don't know if I just if it stopped by accident because it was working and then it said
I'm
it's
not a Zoom
paused.
user. Normally I'm a Teams user, so I'm
Yeah.
not fabulous at knowing what Zoom is capable of.
Okay.
But yeah, I can
Okay.
see my name there and I can see your name.
Okay.
And I
So,
can hear your voice clearly.
okay, well, that's good then.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to check one more thing. Yeah. Okay. So it says it's sharing, so I'll just continue on. But
Yeah,
yeah,
keep going.
that's a bit annoying, isn't it?
Mm.
Okay, so with perimenopause, we'll continue on. Our hormones are fluctuating, obviously, as they are on the slow decline going down. So I do have a graph up on my screen, and this one is showing you how the increase of our hormones as we're going through puberty, and then our hormones sort of stay, I wouldn't say plateau because they don't, but they stay more predictable during our reproductive years. And then on the decline is perimenopause as we get into menopause. So you can see on the graph that estrogen, progesterone sort of have an increase through puberty, but they are fluctuating up and down quite a bit. As we get through our reproductive years and we commence sort of perimenopause, they go on the downward trends, but they are fluctuating quite a bit. So there are quite a few doctors and or sorry, doctors in person and online that I follow who have referred to perimenopause as reverse puberty. So if you think of it that way, it totally makes sense because if you think of everything that we've gone through as a teenager, and then we sort of plateau with the hormones or they become more predictable, I guess, through our 20s and 30s, and then perimenopause hits and they sort of go haywire again. So it's not so much that our hormones are declining, it's that when they are on the decline, they are going up and down, up and down, up and down, and all over the place, and it's unpredictable. So it leaves us with a whole whack of lovely symptoms. Um, there's another graph that I've got up as well, and this again is just more of a visual to show you sort of what estrogen and progesterone do as they are on the decline. And there is a reason why I wanted to show you guys this because I find when you see that, and then I show you guys a list this big of all the symptoms that we can go through perimenopause, it's no wonder why things just feel completely overwhelmed and there is so much going on. So, with our symptoms of perimenopause, we've got, I won't name all of them because we'll be here all day, but hot flashes, night sweats, sleep disorders, so things like insomnia and not being able to sleep very well, irritability, dryness, low libido, fatigue, weight gain, belly fat, muscle tension, anxiety, depression, joint pain, memory loss, itchy skin, lack of concentration, bloating, digestive problems, dizziness, osteoporosis, hair loss, heart palpitations, irregular periods. This is a few of the main ones that I have been listening to clients, going through myself, and reading about, but there are so many other ones. So, with all of these symptoms of crap pretty much going on in our lives, it is absolutely no wonder why if you throw that in the mix, it's no wonder that exercise seems like such a barrier at the moment. So, not having enough time, unpredictable schedules, feeling overwhelmed, and then throw all those perimenopause symptoms in the mix, it's no wonder that we are feeling just completely confused and flabbergasted. So that is my job today, is we're going to try to simplify things. Before we go into that, I just want to go over quickly the types of exercises. So the what. So what exercise that we are talking about in terms of putting together your sort of routine and your plan. Strength training is going to be first and foremost, but then a lot of people don't even know what strength training is or what that means. So, resistance training to build muscle mass, improve your strength and bone density. This is where you'll be doing 6 to 10 reps of an exercise, 2 to 4 sets. And this is just approximate. Everyone is starting at a different point. So, if you are a beginner versus you've been doing it for a long time, but this is just kind of a general rep and set range. Now, with strength training, you want to build up your strength foundation. So we need to prep the body and build up our base foundation first. Everywhere we look, we see lift heavy, but it's unclear what that actually means. So, what if you were just doing a home workout with no equipment versus if you were in a gym? How do you lift heavy? You can still lift heavy because what that means is that you're lifting to your body's capacity to lift to failure. So, let's say I am doing a body weight squat. I can do 10 squats nice and slow and feel my legs burning quite a bit. I can also go to the gym and hold dumbbells and do 10 squats, maybe not as slow or not as many, and I can lift to failure. So to failure just means that you get to like however many reps and then you can't lift any more. So as long as you're challenging your body, and lifting to a certain capacity. You're not doing 1,000 reps. If you can do 1,000 reps, then you're not applying enough stimulus to your muscles to gain strength. But the goal is to get you to that stimulus response, and we want to be promoting muscle growth. And to do that is a term called progressive overload. So this is where we want to make sure that we are keep moving the needle forward and improving and growing and stimulating your muscles. So some people might be on a program where they are just walking and doing mat Pilates, which is great. It's still good for you, but you might not be gaining strength in the sense that you think you are. So you want to make sure that you're getting enough stimulus to increase strength, increase your muscle mass, maintain it, and prevent the decline of it. So that's probably the most important thing is to prevent the decline. The next types of exercise that we always include is mobility. So improving your joint ranges through a movement, and it can be incorporated through each of your weekly sessions. Your pelvic floor. So your pelvic floor should have a designated section in your workout or be incorporated into your workouts. Even if you don't have pelvic floor symptoms, I feel like it's very important that we get on to knowing how to strengthen it, how to release it, how to incorporate it into our deep core movements. It gets easier with understanding and education around it. It's not just Kegels. But like I said, even if you don't have pelvic floor symptoms, it's really important to just kind of know how to train it and what you're doing because at some point in your life, you were probably going to need to know. Also, your pelvic floor is working your deep core muscles. So that is going to play a huge role in your core strength and preventing lower back pain and things like incontinence later in life, which most likely will happen. And we want to be prepared for that. So power and plyometrics. Now, this is something that does sound a bit scary, but we usually start with really light intensity plyometrics. And this is like jump training and impact training for bone density. So you might be seeing this a lot on social media at the moment, which I think is great. I also think this is where a lot of the confusion comes in because then people are like, oh, I shouldn't run because it's going to hurt my knees, but then I have to go and jump off this box. So there's a lot of confusion around it. It can be really, really simple and we build up from the basics. So it can be just a few minutes added to each workout. And then once you do it, you will feel pretty empowered and it will become a favorite. Now, it doesn't have to take half an hour. It's a short amount of time that this takes, and it can be a lot of fun. And I just usually add it into the end of a workout. And then it also ties in with your cardio training because your heart rate will go up quite a bit when you are doing the plyometrics. But cardio is like going for your longer walks or going for a hill walk, taking your bike out, doing some run walk intervals, plyometrics and power training and bone density. So all of that can kind of tie into one another. And this is why it can get so overwhelming because there is a lot, but at the same time, we want to simplify it for you and make it so it's not overwhelming. So bear with me. Now, hopefully, if the screen sharing is working, you can see the diagram of the perimenopause pyramid. It is not rocket science. I am not a genius, even though I'd like to think that I am sometimes, but it's basically giving you the diagram of a pyramid, but as you can see, the bottom one is the biggest, and then it gets smaller as we get to the top. So it's not necessarily that the smaller aspects aren't as important. It's that it's about where we are spending most of our time. And that is at the bottom at our foundation, which is consistency and daily movement. So keeping ourselves moving throughout the day with small habits that we can build up on, and then having a consistent routine that we can just keep doing over and over again. So I'll explain more of this on the next few slides, but I want you to notice how the biggest component is consistency. So it's not running, it's not your strength training, it's not your HIIT training, it's just doing whatever helps keep you consistent. Because if we don't build a routine that you can actually stick to, nothing sitting above that foundation level will even get a chance to work. So the bottom level being the foundation and daily movement. This is exactly how we can create a routine that you can actually stick to. So this layer is about creating movement that just becomes a part of your life. So walking, daily activity, short workouts, and then being able to plan your week and build the habit. We will go into this more in a few minutes. And with this foundation being all about consistency, the best exercise program is always the one that you'll be doing in 6 months from now. So you can start the best workout, the best program in the world, but if in 6 weeks' time you've given up and it's too hard and you're not doing it, then it's not the best workout because you're not getting it done. All right. The next layer up on top of once we build that foundation is our strength training. So once consistency is in place, strength training becomes the priority. And this is where we build muscle, strengthen our bones, improve metabolism, support healthy aging, increase your confidence, and it just makes your everyday life easier. So even little things with myself when I can feel my strength getting better and better, I notice it with things like lifting heavy things up above my head. So in our shed or up and around the garden, we've got a telescopic hedge trimmer. I can use that a lot easier now because I have gotten stronger. And now my little guy's 5 years old. So I think the other day we were on the floor playing Uno or something, and he wanted cuddles, but I picked him up while seated on the floor and I was able to stand up while holding him. And a few months ago, I think that would have hurt my foot too much, and my legs probably wouldn't have been able to handle as well as they have. But I've been more consistent with my workouts, and I've noticed a difference in everyday life, things like that. I feel a lot more confident in just being able to get myself up off the ground while holding a 5-year-old. Um, all right, cardiovascular fitness is just one layer above strength training. So again, it doesn't mean it's not as important, but we spend less time having to focus on this section. So walking, running, swimming, cycling, intervals, zone two training. The goal isn't about spending hours chasing calories. The goal is improving our fitness, our heart health, our stamina, and our energy. So cardio is important as well because it supports our strength training. If we have more cardiovascular fitness, our strength training will actually improve. We'll have better recovery between sets, and it just supports our whole system. And also important to note is that cardio doesn't replace strength training. I get a lot of people that say, "Oh, I don't really want to train legs because I'm going to go for a run, and my legs will gain strength in my run." And you're working your legs in your run, but it's not strength training. It is a different method. It's a different type of exercise. You're getting a different outcome from running versus strength training. So cardio doesn't replace it. I find a lot of times people find it just easier to do cardio because you don't have to think as much. You don't have to worry about your technique as much. So rather than doing their two strength workouts, they just go for a run or they go for a walk again. And then turns out they've done 4 walks that week and no strength work. So we don't want to be replacing it. It is an addition to. And then the top of the pyramid is our recovery. So recovery is fully loaded. I include rest, sleep, stress management, even though those are a whole other pillar in my other sort of method. I do include that in recovery. So recovery isn't necessarily just you being lazy and sitting on the couch all day. It's a part of your program. It's a part of your routine. So it can be a mobility session, a stretching session, a rest day. So rest days, again, you're not sitting on the couch doing nothing. You're doing either a recovery style of workout or a lighter intensity workout, or it's the day that you're doing your general tasks around the house, keeping active, a recovery walk, taking the dog out for a stroll at the park. Or it can also be letting yourself sleep in. So if you're normally someone who would wake up early and go for your workout early in the morning, the recovery phase, you might say, you know what, I've done 4 workouts this week and I think I need a bit of a sleep in, and you let yourself sleep in. So yes, sleep is a part of it. And it's the recovery or making a point to allow recovery be a part of your week. That is what's going to help you keep consistent because instead of constantly battling injury or soreness or burnout, recovery helps kind of keep your energy in the tank so you can stay consistent. On that note, I've seen a lot of programs online and just locally. There's a lot of competitions and stuff going on. So things like High Rocks. Now, this is nothing against High Rocks. I'm just using this as an example. But I'm seeing a lot of people doing these really intense programs, but they're like 8 weeks long or 10 weeks long, and they are literally burning themselves out. Now, again, I'm just using this as an example. It is important that recovery is factored into your training because otherwise you will burn out. Or at the end of the 8 weeks, what ends up happening is people either get really sick or they end up getting injured. And I've seen it pretty much every time I've got a friend or colleague or anyone who is doing some major event. They either get sick or they get injured right towards the end of their training. So either they haven't factored in enough rest and recovery, or they're not listening to their bodies, or they're just going too hard and the body is just like nah, I need a break. And then you get sick. And it's very, very common. So, what does enough actually look like? Are you doing enough workout? So, a lot of women seem to think that they need 6 to 7 workouts every week. And that's one of the biggest reasons that they stay stuck. It's because that is not a routine that is sustainable. So, instead of asking, what's the most I can do? I want you to ask, what is the least I can do consistently and still see meaningful improvements? So, I sort of love that because it's almost like bringing people down and getting them to do less than what they think. And I feel like that's a huge mindset shift as well. And this is what I call your minimum effective week. So your minimum effective week, it ends up being the foundation level of your pyramid. So it's the smallest amount of exercise that still moves your health forward. So it's kind of like the bare minimum. What do you have to do? Like what's the bare minimum that you have to do to help keep your moving towards your goals and to help your health and fitness still improve? So it's not your perfect week, it's not your holiday week, and it's not your motivation week. It's your real life week. So, minimum, what I would suggest is 2 strength sessions a week. It's a non-negotiable, and this is where you build muscle, protect your bones, improve metabolism, support healthy aging, and everything that we've just spoken about. Now, these don't have to be hour-long sessions. They can be quite short. Remember, this is your minimum, okay? So, as part of that minimum effective week, daily movement. So, just keep your body moving. So, park farther away when you go to the shops, grocery shopping, taking your dog out, playing in the yard with your kids or your grandkids, house chores. Don't underestimate them. So, taking the vacuum around the house or the lawnmower out or doing some gardening. It's not about burning calories, but it's just about keeping your body healthy between workouts. So, just those daily activities and daily movement. You don't necessarily have to aim for 10,000 steps or 12,000 steps, but just keep yourself active throughout the day. And mobility, so throughout your week, I would probably say 5 to 10 minutes each week. You don't have to spend an hour doing mobility. Something that I usually say with my clients is that I'd rather you stretch for 5 minutes 3 times a week than do one 45-minute yoga class every 6 months. So, what is more sustainable? Little bursts throughout your week. And again, this can tie into your strength workout. You can add mobility as your warm up or throughout your workout. So, you don't have to separate this from everything else. Or you get someone that says, oh, I'm going to start doing yoga. So they don't do any mobility work. They do one yoga class and then they don't do another class for another month or two. So I'd rather you just have little bits throughout. And again, keeps you consistent and it's consistency over perfection. All right, your minimum effective week. So 1 to 2 cardio sessions. Walk, run, ride, swim, whatever you enjoy. Keep your heart healthy, improve fitness, boost your energy and your mood. So again, they don't have to be huge sessions. Everyone's goals and schedules are different. This is something that you can plan when we get to the next phase of putting our plan together. So recovery, again, you're not being lazy, you're not doing nothing. It can be a gentle exercise session, it can be a rest day, letting yourself sleep in, and then finding ways to manage stress. So it could involve journaling or having, going for a walk with a friend and just, venting about something. So whatever is a way that you are stress managing, this counts as your recovery because it has that effect on your whole system. Recovery is what allows you to keep showing up. And something that I want you to notice of what we've just talked about is that there isn't a single workout on here that's designed to leave you exhausted because the goal isn't to survive one amazing week. The goal is to build a routine that you'll be doing next month and next year and 10 years from now. Now, of course, that routine will change a little bit, but if you get these basic habits and the foundation in, you will stick with it for a very long time. Whereas if you do like let's say we sign up for a 6 week program or a 3 week reset or something that is not sustainable. You might do it for 3 weeks, but then what? You're probably not going to keep up at that level because it is too much. All right. So here are some examples of a minimum effective week. So this is where you can start taking notes if you'd like. Um, all right. So let's just have a look at this one. So Monday to Sunday, we've got strength, a walk, mobility and a walk, strength, walk, cardio, strength, and stretch. There is something on every day. However, we don't necessarily have to be very intense. It doesn't have to be an hour and a half long. So one thing I want you guys to notice about this week is even though it's quite busy, there's three proper workouts and it still ticks all the boxes from the pyramid. So it supports your muscle, bone health, heart health, recovery, mobility, and it's actually achievable for a lot of busy people. Now, that is a lot though. There's a lot scheduled in, but like I said, it doesn't mean that those walks are 2 hours long. They could be a 20-minute walk before work or after work, or on their lunch break, or yeah, before they do school pickup. So it's not necessarily everything is smashing that person's body. It is really achievable. Now, down to the second example that I put up here is that there's actually days off on this one. And this is what I love about it because it allows that flexibility. So let's say you set your week up and you've got strength on Monday, strength on Thursday. Wednesday, you've got mobility and 20 minutes of cardio. So that might be a stretch session and a 20-minute bike ride or a spin session or whatever you've got available to you. Friday is off. Saturday, you've got yard work to get through. And Sunday, you're meeting a friend for a walk. So you got two proper workouts, but this week also ticks every box in the pyramid. So it's supporting your muscle, bone health, heart health, recovery, mobility. And it's also very achievable for busy women. Now, what I love about this is having strength on Monday and then nothing planned on the Tuesday. That is because let's say on Monday something happens, your day goes pear-shaped and you don't get your strength session in, you can do it on Tuesday. So give yourself that flexibility. So that is what I love about it, and that is just super realistic because it you will have weeks where this happens. So no matter how well you've planned it, something might come up and you miss your workout. Again, adapt and move on. Do it the next day. Same thing on Thursday. We've got strength planned. If something happens, you've got Friday as your backup day. And I love that because it just allowing that flexibility and having that open space in your calendar is what keeps people consistent. So if you have a fully booked week and you miss your Monday, it'll throw your whole week off. And that's what can spiral people. And then we go, okay, I'll start again on Monday when I can get it in. So I'd rather you guys have that flexibility to have days that you can chop change and move things around. Worst case scenario, you miss 2 days in a row, but you can double up on the third day or whatever it is. So there should always be some sort of flexibility. Now, that's your minimum week. So once that minimum effective week feels consistent, this is what I'd consider your goal week. So once you build that consistency and you're on a roll and it's happening weeks on end, now is when we can ramp things up a little bit. We're not going to do this overnight. It's about gradually building a routine that supports your health throughout your perimenopause journey and beyond, of course. So this is built around your week, an average week. And remember, we are keeping this realistic and sustainable. So we don't want to overachieve here. We want to make sure that it feels realistic and attainable. So once you've built up that consistency, now we can add a little bit more. So instead of 2 strength sessions a week, we're going to go 2 to 4 strength sessions a week. And these can be from like 20 to 40 minutes. They don't have to be huge workouts. 1 to 2 cardio sessions, and I've only put 10 to 20 minutes because that's usually when it's like a heart rate challenging workout. So whether that's a run session or intervals or sprint training. And then below that, it's 1 to 2, what we call zone 2 cardio, so lighter intensity. So that would be like going for a walk with a girlfriend or taking your dog for a walk. Yeah, so lesser intensity. 3 10-minute mobility and pelvic floor. So I've tied mobility and pelvic floor together because quite often it's an easy session to combine the two. So whether that's a little bit of stretching and your deep core work, and then 2 10-minute bone building twice a week. And that can be like your jumps and plyometric. And of course, leaving time for recovery. Now, this looks like a lot when I write it out like this, but a lot of these can be joined together. So if you have your 10 to 20-minute cardio sessions tacked on to the end of a workout, that is a 40 to 60-minute session where you're getting your strength and your cardio. So then that's done. If you do that twice a week, that's your if you do that twice a week, that's your 2 sessions. And then you can add on the strength, like an extra strength session on top of that. So it does look like a lot, but you can combine a lot of these together. So now, this is where I want you to grab your pen and paper. And we're going to sort of start putting together your plan. So how many days a week can you realistically set aside time for exercise? And this is where you have to be realistic. So if you are already working out, let's say 3 days a week, that's great. We want to keep that. And then have you got any other times throughout your week that you can add to it or build up over that. So what if we can combine a few of these components together into one session? And what if each session was 45 minutes and you could do it from home? So that would make a big difference as well. So let's write this down. So how many days a week can you realistically do it? And how long can you set aside for each exercise? So if you're doing this already, write down what you are getting done during that time. So some people, this might just be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 to 6:30 a.m. If that's all you can fit in when you look at your calendar, that is fine. That is what we start with. If you got Monday, Tuesday, Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m., so let's say after work, you've got a gym on site at your workplace or something like that, and you just stay that hour after work, wait for traffic to die down before you go home. So again, you don't need to have every single day. We work with what you already have. So while you guys are doing that, I do have another visual. So this is just another pyramid that I put together. It's it's not the best, but it does the job to just show you what this can look like. So level one is that foundation week. I've actually labeled it survival mode. So this is your bare or your minimum effective week. So one strength session and 1 week, or sorry, one walk plus all your daily movement and just making sure that you're, parking farther away at the shopping center, keeping active throughout the house, playing with your kids, walking, that sort of thing. So let's say perhaps your minimum effective week is one strength session and one walk. If you can get at least that in every week, that is going to help keep you moving the needle forward. Now, you're not going to skyrocket your results. You're not going to make the Olympics. You're not going to get like a shredded body just from doing that, but it's keeping you there. You're still doing it. So let's say you've got your goal week where you've got 2 or 3 sessions a week planned into your calendar, but next week, work has thrown 8 other deadlines at you. Your kids are off school, it's school holidays, and your time is going to be really, really cut back. So that's when we drop down to the minimum effective week. Okay, so my week has gone to crap. I've lost all my free time. I'm going to make sure that I can still do my strength session on Tuesday and I'm going to go for my walk on Thursday. So at least the minimum that you're going to get done that week is still happening. So that's kind of where we want to have that flexibility and build up sort of your minimum effective week, your goal week, and then that extra week where you might just have way more energy and more free time. What else could you add in on top of it? So the example that I've got on this pyramid is your goal week has 2 to 3 strength sessions, one cardio, which is either a long walk or a short run, and one mobility or recovery session. So that takes you to, let's say, 4 sessions in that 1 week. But again, you can add on mobility or cardio at the end of a strength session. So if you're already at the gym, let's say, if you're already doing a workout, keep yourself in exercise mode and just add on an extra 10 or 20 minutes at the end of that because then it's just done. You don't have to do it again the next day. And again, we come back to the theme of consistency. We are keeping you guys consistent. So if that's how you're going to get it done and then it ensures that you get it done, then that's what we want to do. If you do your workout and then you're going to do your cardio session tomorrow, you'll know quite quickly if there's a big chance that that workout is not going to happen. So it's easier just to get it all done together and then it is finished because then you can just tick it off your list. It makes it easier. And then again, it builds on you being able to stick to that routine. If you have 5 days a week and you've got a different workout plan for every single day, most likely we're going to start missing days altogether. And then we're going to slowly get into that stop, start, repeat cycle again. Now, on the days that you are feeling, or sorry, on the weeks that you are feeling either more energy, so if it's that time of your cycle, or let's just say you're going to have a quieter week at work and you've got a bit of extra time, you can either give yourself more time to sleep, maybe meet a friend for a coffee and a walk, an extra time, or just add that into your week. Maybe you can get up and make it to a class that you've wanted to do for a while. So you might have time to do extra sessions, but you don't have to overdo it. So you don't have to think, oh, I've got all this free time. I'm going to do 5 more workouts. That's not realistic, but it means that you can, like I said, give one morning where you can sleep in or get an earlier night's sleep. Get an extra workout in when it suits your schedule that week. Add in an extra walk with a friend or something like that. So those are like the really like your great weeks. Not necessarily sustainable, but a week that you can kind of throw in every once in a while, hopefully more often than not, but yeah. So we kind of have it built up like that. So again, the bottom level is our foundation. What's the bare minimum? And we have to be able to do that consistently. It's going to look different for everyone. Whenever I take on new members, we have a full coaching call that I take them through when they first join. So then that way we can go through this together and find out what it is that their bare minimum week is. And then we go into their goal week. So ideally, goal week is what your regular weeks look like. And then the minimum effective week is sort of like if you're not feeling great or if the kids are homesick from school or something's come up, you've got tradies in your house, your schedule's all altered because you've got to be home for the home renos or whatever that is. So we want to have those backup plans so that we can always have a way to stay on our routine. Now, I can pop this into the chat as well, and send this through to you guys after the session. This is a real simple weekly schedule that I give my clients as well. I am a pen and paper person. I find by literally just going Monday, I'm going to do strength for 40 minutes. Tuesday, I'm going to walk for 60 minutes. By writing it out, it's a form of committing to yourself, but it gives you a map so you can actually see that you've got time to do this. Now, again, it's pretty straightforward. You don't have to use something like this. It's just an example. And then I do have a little sample for you guys here as well. So this is something that I would recommend for someone who's got, maybe part-time work. They might have kids. They're not crazy, crazy busy, but we've got it set up so that on Monday they do a full body session. On Tuesday, they do a little cardio session where it's a warm up, a slight run, not slight, a small run walk interval session, and their cool down. So the total time is 45 minutes. On Wednesday, they're doing a 20-minute workout from the online library. Thursday, they're doing a full body workout. Friday, they're doing a 20-minute workout. Saturday is 60-minute walk with a friend. And then Sunday is a mobility and stretch. Oh, sorry. So the title is on there. So the different types of workouts are different intensities. So they might have where it has like 45 minutes or 35 minutes, that's strength training. And then they might have a cardio, and then it's mixed in with mobility and stretching. So it's a bit of variety. There's something on every day, but it's quite different. And again, that's kind of like the first sample that I gave you guys before as well. So that's a pretty full schedule, but again, they all kind of complement each other. So they're not doing like full 1 hour smash your body workouts every single day. It's literally 20 minutes of stretching and some core work. Or the next day, it's a 20-minute walk or something like that. So it's something, but it's not necessarily everything that's going to be punishing your body. All right, now before we move on, let's take a look at what we have created. So you might need a little bit more time to have a look at your schedule. But a short while ago, while you joined me, many of you were probably feeling overwhelmed by all the conflicting advice. So wondering if you're doing too much or not enough, or whether you should be exercising the way you have been. So now looking at your page, you have a plan, you've got your plan, it's realistic, and it's built around your life. So hopefully for the first time in a long time, you can see how this actually is achievable. And when you have clarity, consistency becomes possible. And consistency is what creates your lasting results. So hopefully I've honed down that message for you guys. And I really do want to be honest with you guys. So as important as exercise is only one piece of the puzzle. So let's bring you back to the diagram that we discussed earlier today. So again, my very sort of high tech Venn diagram here of you in the middle, and you're the best version of you when you've got a great balance and components of exercise, nutrition, and your stress and sleep and recovery. So when all three pillars are working beautifully together, that is when you can be your best self. So exercise gives you strength, it supports your energy, it's what protects your muscles and your bones, and then lasting results don't come from the one pillar on its own. So nutrition is going to influence how you fuel your body. Recovery is where your body adapts, restores, and keeps you going. When these three pillars work together, that is when everything starts to feel easier. So even if your workouts weren't perfect, if you've got the other components working really well, you're going to feel a lot better. Or if you've had a few real, let's just call them unhealthy meals for lack of better words, but if you've had good sleep and you've worked out, you're still going to feel probably pretty good energy and you'll be in a good mood. So, today's workshop was never about giving you another workout plan. It was about giving you the clarity. Because once you know what to do, being consistent will become so much easier. But knowing what to do is only the first step. So, the real challenge is you putting it into practice week after week. So, adjusting as your body changes, staying accountable, and bringing all three pillars together in a way that works for your life. So this is exactly why I have created the Perimenopause Project. So this is my baby. I've been working on this for 2 years and it's been live since January of this year. You've experienced what clarity can feel like around exercise, and imagine what it would feel like when you have that same clarity around your nutrition, recovery, and knowing how to bring it all together. So, who is the perimenopause project for? It's for women who are ready to stop second guessing themselves and want a simple, sustainable approach to feeling strong and confident through perimenopause and beyond. So, imagine that you know exactly how to exercise each week. You stop starting over every Monday. You understand how to fuel your body. You know when to push and when to recover. You can trust yourself again, and exercise becomes a part of your life instead of another thing that you fail at. And I hate saying it that way, but I've heard that so many times from clients is that they feel like they suck at it and they're not good at it, and they feel like they are constantly failing at it. And it's not. I feel like whatever exercise you do, you're doing something positive for yourself. And then what my job is to help bring it all together and maximize your results and save you time and create that consistency. So, a lot of women I speak to feel stuck in the same place. So, they either rely on personal training sessions a few times a week to stay on track, or they do it all on their own and they're following random workouts, saving everything they can on Instagram, but then never actually doing it, second guessing their food choices, and then struggling to stay consistent. And then somewhere in the middle of all of that, they end up falling off the wagon. So it's not because they want to have another stop-start cycle. Nobody wants that. And it's not because they don't care. And it's definitely not because they aren't capable. I see it because they don't have the structure or the support that they actually need. So even my own clients who see me on a regular basis, I know that they could be skyrocketing their results if they had more consistency for when they can't make their sessions or when I'm away in Canada for 3 or 4 or 5 weeks at a time. So I try to go home once a year to visit my family. It's a big trip from Perth to get back to Vancouver, and it ends up taking quite a long time. So I take 3 weeks minimum when I go, and that means that my clients are here without me for 3 weeks or more. So it's one of the downfalls of personal training, but it doesn't have to be that way. So that is exactly the gap that I'm trying to fill with my program. So, what exactly is the Perimenopause Project? I've named it that because I feel like your best project in life is yourself. So, I wanted the word project to be in there. It's a 6 month coaching program that gives you the guidance, the structure, and accountability of a personal trainer, but without the appointments and with so much more support in between your workouts. So, it's designed to help you build a routine to fit your life so you can stay consistent even when things are busy, which is exactly what we've been discussing today. So, with more consistency, more weekly support for exercise, nutrition, stress, and recovery, more of everything, and at a fraction of the cost of personal training. So, inside the program, you are supported every step of the way. We start with a 12-week beginner strength foundations program. So, you know exactly how to start, and there's no guesswork. They are fully guided sessions. You also have access to a full workout library with over 50 sessions that are preloaded on there, and they are all designed by me and led by me. Monthly additions to the workouts and your sample meals and snacks. So you're always progressing, staying engaged, and getting better results over time. So there's always new things being added to the program every month. The 5 education modules is exercise, nutrition, stress, and rest. We do a full overview of our bodies through perimenopause, which still pertains to menopause as well. And then you've got the full workout library and downloadable resources. For support, you've got access to me 24/7, Monday to Friday. And we have a private members Facebook group for your ongoing support, accountability, and connection to women that are on a similar path. I also run fortnightly group coaching calls with the replays. So every 2 weeks, I put up a new topic or we continue on from a previous topic, and we keep the discussion going and keep giving you guys value added education little nuggets. And the replays are posted into the modules as well. So if you can't join them live, they will be there for you within a couple of hours. And it's not about doing more or doing things perfectly. So that's a big theme with my coaching. It's about having the right structure so that things can start to feel easier and that you can start feeling your results and getting your confidence up. So, women who are already inside the program, this is what they've been already noticing. So, more consistent energy, especially in the afternoons, feeling stronger and more capable and less pain in their everyday lives, confidence in what to do. So, either knowing sort of how to put together a balanced meal and also knowing what to do if they're on the fly and it's a workout day and let's say they're not too sure what workout to do, they have that confidence now to decide on that and a routine that they can stick to. So again, there we are with the consistency. And overall, I've had quite a few of the women tell me that they just feel calmer, clearer, and more control again. And this is just a little bit of details of how I actually support my clients through their progress. So the guided support. So you have me in your back pocket pretty much every day of the week. You can email me, message me, let me know what's going on, and I will get back to you and we can discuss and make sure that you're on the right track going forward. So right now, there's a lot of people using Chat GPT for things like this, and I just think that you are not a robot. So why would you even ask a robot for their input? That is my take on it. AI has a lot of really good reasons for its use, but your health and fitness, I think, is just not one of them. And yeah, so my whole thing is just to help you guys eliminate the all or nothing headspace. And rather than doing nothing, we will always find something that you'll be able to do, whether you're going through injury or anything else as well. Now, community and accountability, so training amongst similar stage women who get what you're going through is invaluable. So to be able to be seen and heard and know that others are having similar struggles and they are still having lots of wins. So that is a big part of it as well. So seeing the success of others and even, learning from what's worked for them can actually be really, really, really valuable. Now, the home workouts in my program, I think they're great. I've obviously put a lot of time and effort into them, but I've morphed a lot of those different components of exercise into one workout. So you don't have to do 8 different sessions throughout your week. We can do that one workout once or twice or 3 times a week, and you're getting your pelvic floor, mobility, cardio, plyometrics, strength training all in one, so you don't have to think about it. So yeah, and then just creating that flexible schedule and your mindset. So the opportunity to give yourself a lot of grace with these workouts. Now, how can you work with me? So I would love to take everyone on board because I love my job and being able to do it online just helps me help more people. But I am pretty strict with how many spots I do open up. So like I said, we've been doing this since January. But because it is a support-based program, there's only one of me. I'm only opening up 8 spots. I do keep the intakes limited because I can only do so much. I want to make sure everyone gets their onboarding call, their coaching call with me, get everyone set up, and that I'm not overwhelmed with having too many people at once. But it also helps keep it nice and like a boutique sort of feeling within the group as well. Now, with the event that I'm running today, you are getting bonuses if anyone is interested or wanted to book a call with me. If you don't want to book a call and it is something that you are really interested in, I would love to work with you. Anyone that joins within 24 hours, I will be giving you guys an extra coaching call because you're probably not going to book a call with me now. So if you do join without booking the call that I'm offering today, we will give you a full coaching call to use halfway through the program. So that's pretty good as well because it gives you, well, the calls are about 30 to 60 minutes. It just depends on how much time we take. I don't really put a limit on it. But you get one when you first join up, but this is giving you guys an extra one around the 3-month mark to just fully check in and revamp things as much as we need to. You're also going to save $2 off the whole program price. And everyone that joins from the event today, I'm also going to include a little equipment pack. So I've got a 3 pack of resistance loop bands and a massage ball. And this is from my favorite company called Blackroll that is here. I think they're from Germany, but we've got a big presence of them here in Australia. And it's an $85 value, but it's my favorite bands and the massage ball that I work with quite a bit. In our modules as well, we've got quite a few workouts where we use the bands and the balls with the myofascial section. So really handy to have. And I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys. So the investment to work with me for 6 months is 1997. Now, I know that it's an important decision, and I would never expect you guys to just join with me unless you felt completely comfortable. So I have opened up, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, a few complimentary perimenopause plan calls. So it's not a high pressure sales call. It's if you have questions, and it's an opportunity for us to chat about where you are, what's getting in the way, and sort of where you want to be going, and whether we are a right fit to work together. And if it is, then great. But if it's not, then that is completely okay too. So if you do want to book a call, I'm going to put the link in the chat now. Um, I need to figure out how to do that. Good. So if you wanted to book a call, here is the link to do the call. And if you are considering joining me with my 6 month coaching program, I would love to have you on board. I've applied the discount to the link here as well. So if you are interested, feel free to click away and book your call. And like I said, I do want everyone to feel really comfortable. So if it's not on your radar at all, again, that is totally fine. If it's something that you are interested in, you want to know a bit more, or if you're just not sure, if it does work for you, then book the call and we can chat. Because in that way, we can just get all your questions answered. And yeah, and again, you don't have to join right now if you don't want to. There's the extra 24-hour bonus, but the other bonuses will expire on Wednesday, August 5th. And that's when the intake will close for this month as well. So those are your two options if you see that being a good fit going forward. And again, no worries if not. And I do have a few little success stories of clients as well. I'm just going to double check my emails to make sure I haven't missed anything coming through. And yeah. Okay. So do you have any questions at all for me? And if you do, just unmute yourself and chat away.
So, Joe, I've just emailed you to say, obviously I couldn't see the presentation, but I also couldn't see the link you just posted because I can't see the chat, which is really odd.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I've used Zoom a few times, but not a lot. But
Yeah.
there's all the features that are available to me I have explored, and there's nothing there. So
Yeah.
anyway, I've just
Okay.
emailed you, so perhaps you could add the link to that, and
Yes,
I can go in that way.
absolutely. Okay. So I'll send that through to you as well. And then I will be sending out the replay. I'm going to have to check the replay though and see if there's anything to actually replay people. Make sure it's all worked. I practiced 3 times this morning. So, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I will, if I don't get your email, I will.
I've only just sent it,
Okay.
so it's probably just coming through now.
And is it on, have you just replied to my other one?
I replied to
Yeah.
one of
Okay. I've
your
got it.
emails. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. So I've got the email, so I will reply to you. And then I will double
amazing.
check my recording as well and see what kind of magic has been happening on
Yeah,
this as well.
audio is perfect.
Well, that's good.
Look, I was using the browser version of Zoom rather than the actual app. That
Yeah.
might have some bearing on it.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, good. Just you and my dog here at the moment anyway, so. All right. So what I will do is I will end the meeting now. I'll double check my replay and then I will get back to you with your email as well.
Amazing. Thank
Excellent.
you.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me. Where are you joining from, by the way?
I live in Marmion. I'm nearby.
Oh, stop it. Oh, that's right,
Yeah.
because you used to go to Peach. I mean, Peak.
Yes.